Hi, I'm Dr. Shikha Sharma, and today I'm going to be talking about what are those secrets about gut health which the ancient people knew and which is very, very relevant today. So, when we talk about the ancient people, any diagnosis, any kind of treatment would not begin unless the Vaidya or the doctor had checked the tongue, the color of the sclera, which is the white portion of the eye, the pulse, and had inquired about the bowel movements. And I know that when we were studying as medical doctors, we used to find it very strange the obsession of these ancient doctors with asking questions about bowel movements. So, anything the person had, headache or pain in the leg or anything. So, as young doctors, we were, of course, arrogant and whatever you might call it. And we used to find it very strange that the ancient Veds would, whether it's a headache or whether it's a cold or whether it's a body ache or whether it's anything, would check the tongue, would check the sclera, would do a pulse diagnosis, would ask about bowel movements, and then proceed. Because we were in that excitement that, oh, we know the person has a headache, the person needs a brufen. We know the person has a headache, we prescribe a crocin or this or that. We were so excited to start prescribing. So we used to find it very strange that these ancient Vedas ask so many questions and then bring the bowel movement inside and the stomach and this and that and whatever. Today, after being in this industry of preventive healthcare for 25 years, I've understood why the ancient doctors or Ved would ask about bowel movements, would ask about health, what would check your tongue. Why? There was nothing called in when I was doing my medicine. There was nothing of this terminology called the gut-brain axis. The gut was the gut intestine, the brain was the brain. And there were two different things we talked about. The gut brain axis is a conversation which has started only recently. Why? Why is it called a gut brain axis? The intestine is connected to the brain. Why are we talking this about this now? Because research has proven that there is a communication happening between your gut, your intestine, and your brain. Why is this communication happening? I mean, after all, the body has to digest food, get calories, end of the story. Why should it talk to the brain? What is it that they want to talk to the brain about? Interesting, no? That is what the Veds knew, which we young, arrogant doctors didn't know. Allopath doctors. I mean, I'm talking about myself as an allopath doctor. And there was no research at that time also talking about gut brain axis. Now, let's talk about another aspect of the gut, which is that the brain we know has a lot of nerves, right? And that's why we call it the brain. We say it has such a big nervous system. So many neurons are there in the brain. But do you know which body organ after the brain has the maximum nerves? Your gut. Isn't it interesting? We never thought of it earlier. That why should the gut, whose only job is to digest at the first level, and we thought it was like a digestive system. It was not correlated with brain power, with anything to do with intelligence. It was a gut. But interestingly, this gut has, after the brain, first is the brain, but after the brain, the second organ is your gut, which has the maximum nerve supply. So, what are so many nerves trying to do in the intestine? Why is the intestine trying to be intelligent, let's say? Fundamentally, the intestine is trying to be intelligent. Why does the intestine need to be intelligent? Fascinating, no? Third thing, which at that time also as young allopath doctors we didn't think about, I don't know if the research was out there, but certainly we did not read about it. Our intestine is the home to billions of bacteria. Billions. At that time, we were only concerned with hygiene. Wash your hand, clean the area, wash your hand, hygiene, this, that, whatever. So obviously, it never occurred to us that billions of bacteria, literally bacteria, are living inside a gut. For our body is like Earth to them. Our body is like a planet to them. Why are so many bacteria, sitting inside our intestine? Very fascinating. Because at that time we just thought there's a bacteria, kill it, give it an antibiotic. It never occurred to us that the billions of bacteria are literally living inside our bodies, doing what? And the bacteria also has some intelligence. Any living thing has intelligence. Otherwise, it can't multiply. Otherwise, it can't do its function. So now you have this gut brain axis with so much brain power sitting in your intestine, plus the bacteria with their brains also sitting in the intestine doing something. Interesting. Now let us understand what could they be doing? Because see, we are still, I won't say we know everything about our bodies. I would never say that. There is so much more to our bodies which we don't know, but we are trying to discover like a treasure hunt. What are these bacteria doing inside our stomach? What are so much brain power doing inside our stomach, our gut basically? Third point which I want to explain to you, that in the intestine there are these small patches which was discovered by a scientist called Peer. So in the honor of that scientist who discovered that there are these small patches, that those patches are called Pear's patches. And you know what those Pear's patches are? Very interesting. That is our fighter cells, our immune cells. This is the third aspect of the intestine which you would have never thought about. That there is a very strong immunity sitting inside your stomach. Normally, when we talk about immunity, we talk about blood. We talk about other things. Immunity strong करनी है. So we normally think कि blood में कुछ strong आने वाला है. But inside your intestine, there is a fortress of immunity. There is a whole factory of immunity sitting there called Pear's patches. Now let's look at all these three things together. Millions and billions of bacteria sitting inside your stomach, inside your intestine, your gut. Your brain power, second to your this brain, second brain sitting inside your gut, and immunity sitting inside your gut. Now tell me, what is this gut doing? This immunity is like black cat commandos protecting, because you are eating anything, you're continuously eating something. These black cat commandos, which are your immunity, are sitting and checking whatever is coming inside the stomach. And based on that, they're giving the signal, oh, something bad has come. Increase the forces, increase the soldiers. It's literally communicating with whatever is going inside your stomach. And what is going inside your stomach is not dead things, unless you're eating chemicals only. Yes, those are dead. Chemicals are dead, so that's all dead stuff you're eating. Otherwise, these are chromosomes, genetic material going inside your stomach. An apple has genetic material. If you're eating chicken, that also has genetic material. If you're eating whatever you're eating, it has some genetic material, remnants, even if it's not in full form, but some remnants are there. That remnant genetic material is getting scanned. Like in airports, you get scanned. So this fighter cells, this immune defense, they're scanning the genetic material. Of course, if you decide to eat a lot of chemicals, that also is getting scanned, but then it's sending an emergency signal. It's not sending a signal that, okay, this is the information, this is the people. It's like an immigration department, let's call it. The immigration department is sitting in your gut. What are these bacteria doing? Are they having free lunches? Whatever you ate, the bacteria is eating for free? No. There are no free lunches in the gut. The bacteria is doing a job of breaking down some things, pre-digesting something, adding some functional value to the food. So in our body's universe, there are no free lunches even for the bacteria. They also have to work. And that work is being done by these billions of bacteria. By the way, and it's just a side conversation I'm having, when you take antibiotics without prescription and just randomly all the time, you're killing these poor things who are doing so much work for you. And that is why people who take antibiotics and painkillers just like that randomly start suffering because their gut biome changes. So, gut biome basically means what? It's a fancy word for this entire world of which is living inside your gut. This entire planet of bacteria and enzymes and all that, which is literally living inside your gut. This is called the gut biome. And in the olden times, when the Vedya asked about the bowel movements and the kind of stool, the characteristic of stool, the characteristic of urine, your tongue, they were trying to basically diagnose what's happening with your gut biome. Because basis that they would know what is your condition. Because your first line of defense, your immigration department has been compromised or it's functioning well. And basis that they would decide what is to be given. Now, when we talk about these three things, your intelligence department, your basically your Pierce patches, your I would call it a defense department. Let's call it the defense, the immigration, the defense department, the Pierce patches, the intelligence department. Now let's bring another side conversation in this, which is called your gut instinct. What is your gut instinct? So many people feel it. We talk about a gut instinct. Today, if I say this gut instinct is your second brain working, non cognitive brain working, I don't think I'll be far from the truth. Cognitive brain is okay, I see an apple in front of my eyes. I call it an apple. That's my brain, that's my eyes working and calling it an apple. But your gut brain is working at another level, which comes as a message, a subconscious message, a subconscious instinct, a subconscious feel. When you say, "Oh, I'm not feeling good," sometimes you have chola bhatura outside. You say, "I'm not feeling good." And you instantly know I'm going to fall ill now. What was that connection that you just felt your gut gave you a message that, look, ring, 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 something has gone wrong. We have been compromised. Maybe the bhatura had bad oil. So this gut instinct has two parts. One is, of course, the feel you get when you've just eaten something and your gut is feeling bad. What is this gut feeling? It's the intelligence of the gut telling you, no? Something has gone wrong. And you say, I'm not going to eat anything. Just nimbu pani do. Something is happening inside. It's a message is coming, which you are picking up in your brain and interpreting it because the gut has already sent a message. Then the other part is the gut instinct. Your gut instinct. So the world of the intestine is not only your biome, it is also those gut instincts which yet medical science has to figure out that where is this gut instinct coming from. We all know, we experience it, but we are unable to define it. Now let's look at this whole gut. If we look at gut health as the first line, as the foundation of our health, what would we do? We would keep it clean, we would keep it healthy, we would give it the right ingredients, we would ensure that the gut movement is good, we would uh, listen to our gut. So now let's come back to ancient Veds. So what did the ancient Veds say? Yoga. So many postures in yoga for your gut. So many postures I can't tell you. Even the basic Shashankasana, simple, is for your gut. Bhujangasana is for your gut. Then, uh, then there is another asana where you uh, clutch your knees and hold them tight onto your stomach. So the message I'm trying to tell you is yoga asana is not just for weight loss, which people mistakenly think. It's not a PT exercise. It's also connected to your functionality of your body. Because if you're sitting the whole day eating, your bowel movements will get affected. Haven't you noticed when you fly long hours, what happens to your gut? It just becomes solid. Solid means hard. The movement stops. In hospitals, we used to see when I was working in the hospital that patients who were lying down all the time, we had to give them laxatives. They wouldn't pass stools only because no movement, just lying down the whole day. So movement, gas expulsion, and bowel movements will happen if your body is moving. If your body is not moving, you'll have a problem. That's why yoga is for young, for old, for everybody. Second thing which I want to tell you is like you have tonics, like different tonics for different things. I still remember that my grandfather used to use trifla and used to laugh. Oh, this churan. At that time, it was in a churan form. Nowadays, you get capsules and you get many other varieties. But at that time, there was this churan I used to see. I used to wonder, grandfather eating churan, why every day is eating churan? Because that churan was called trifla. And trifla had three things. Harar, behar, amla. And they are called rasayans. They were meant for this gut biome. Today we talk about multivitamins and tonics and this and that and superfoods and functional foods. This was the rasayan, a superfood for the gut. To keep its pH right, to keep the millennium right, to keep the gut biome right. It was not a laxative. Unfortunately, today people understand trifla as a laxative. Kayam or other kind of senna leaves, they were laxatives. So please understand, trifla is not a laxative. The main function is a rasayan, a tonic for the gut. Senna leaves, those are laxatives. And that's a different kind of a herb. This is a different kind of a herb. Second thing, what was important for the gut? Hydration. We take a bath, the gut also needs hydration, water. Water is the elixir of life. So drinking water was very important. If you see in olden times, your great grandfather, or people of that generation, they were they're very particular about water. The right kind of water, drinking enough water, keeping the water. Somebody would keep it. Somebody was doing chromotherapy, somebody was doing something. But water was a very uh, valued thing. Somebody was keeping it in silver vessel, somebody was keeping it in some other vessel, right? You might have seen it in your grandparents' house. What was the reason? What was the reason of drinking water out of a silver utensil? Because silver is cooling in nature. It's also antimicrobial in nature, antiviral in nature. So, water, hydration was very important. Like I said, trifla was important for the gut biome. Hydration was very important. Third thing, now when the intestine is moving, and of course, in olden times also people had puri and halwa and all that, but they knew that they have to compensate. And they have to compensate by cleaning the system, but not a laxative. No, laxative was for people who had already messed up their system. They would have fiber, moti roti, chokar roti, fruits, salads, isabgol. So once a week, they knew that they had to make sure that the system was rejuvenated, healthy. So they would have these kinds of things. That mahi mata roti was not in so much popular. The refined maida roti was not so popular. Yes, festivals, all this happened, but then it wasn't the routine. So the importance of fiber was very well understood by all the Veds also and people of that generation. Today we have pizza and we have white bread and we have macaroni and we have um, pasta. All these are white flour, they're bad for the intestine. This, why are they bad for the intestine? Because this sticks to the intestine and creates pockets of infection, pockets of stagnation, toxicity. Now, another thing which was important was, like I spoke about gut biome, I spoke about immunity, and I uh, spoke about gut health. Another thing which was very important was that once a fortnight, and these were defined days, full moon or Amavasya, people just drank water and kept their diet low, right? They're trying to hydrate and reset the system. Because, see, nobody is a saint. So people did have binges of overeating, festival overeating, wedding overeating. But they had this clock where they would reset their bodies. But not the way fasting is done today. That you fast the whole day and then have chai coffee. No, that's not the way fasting is done. It is done with the proper scientific way, the Vedic way. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if you understand your gut, like if you understand your engine, your car engine, you understand how to take care of your car engine. If you understand your gut, you know how to take care of your gut. And if you don't understand your gut, you will only do shortcuts, which in India is called jugaad. One word, no, I cannot find any other translation for jugaad. It's just a very uh, a word which is very Indian. We understand what jugaad means. We understand the feeling behind the jugaad. We understand the emotion behind the jugaad. We understand what jugaad is. So everything else is a jugaad when you don't understand how your gut actually functions. So what I'm trying to say is that your gut is your body first level, which you can understand. You can't understand a blood test report. You can't go inside your blood. That, of course, it's an invasive process. You draw sample, you send it to the lab, and the lab will tell you your liver is a problem, your kidney is a problem, your this is a problem. This is what you can see yourself every day. What is happening to your gut? What is happening to your tongue? What is happening to your sclera? Yellow sclera, bad digestion. Whitish tongue, bad digestion. You're heading for trouble. Bowel movement's not right, bad digestion. You have to fix it before it becomes chronic. You have to fix it before you end up with a liver problem. So the secrets of the gut are actually secrets of life. If you understand your gut health, management of your gut instinct, at least you've got one thing right. So if you want really to become healthy, start understanding your gut in its entirety. And it's an amazing miracle of nature how our gut functions. Because the number of enzymes, the number of things which are happening in the gut is mind blowing. So today, enough for today. And what I would suggest is, if you want an assessment of what is your bioenergy type, what is your body type, send in your request, and we will do a complimentary assessment of your body type. Because understanding your body, I would say, is your first responsibility, because that's the first step towards health. So stay healthy, keep fit,